Chapter 190. Prima Donna 2. So. The movements of mermaids in water were quite intense. The water in the bathtub spilled out, and the Black Dragon Master had filled it up again under the Crusader's orders. Whoever saw this would think I did something wrong. I helped you clear your quest. The Black Dragon Master mumbled. 0. The Crusader sighed as though she was already used to the Black Dragon Master's shamelessness. Why did you bring me here? Is it because you need lie detector? It's not. I don't need your skill. I need your musical talent. My musical talent? The Crusader frowned. The Black Dragon Master nodded. MHM. You used to play a lot before you joined the civil militia. You even earned a lot more than your salary, didn't you? Without my exaggeration, wouldn't that mean that it was a waste of money? I don't know why the hell you're talking about that. That's an old story from before I got my title. Listening to the conversation of the two in front of me, I felt a bit bewildered. The Crusader. Ranked 7th. Deputy head of the civil militia in charge of maintaining security in Dongchen City. After the Sword Saint announced his retirement, the position of head of the civil militia became vacant, so the Crusader was basically the acting head. I knew that she was a Venezuelan refugee and a graduate of a music school, but that was it. Like my other companions, the Crusader didn't talk about her original past, so I knew very little about the deputy head. What do you mean earned a lot of money? What are you two talking about? It's nothing. A useless past. It's something that most don't know. This person made a lot of money doing jazz concerts. Despite the Crusader's efforts to avoid the topic, the Black Dragon Master spoke plainly. The Crusader gave her a deathly glare, but the Black Dragon Master simply shrugged. When we first entered the tower, there weren't many interesting things to do. There were a lot of people who got into drinking, doing drugs, or other things like that. But whenever the Crusader held a concert, hunters would flock to. Black Dragon Master. I don't know why, but everything we mention that time, she gets angry. So fussy. At that time, the Crusader's nickname was Night Sky. If you say anything else, it'll be declaration of war. Oh right. Sorry. This was something I hadn't known before. Before my return, although it wasn't as much as the Flame Emperor, I had been a big fan of the famous hunters. I collected all the magazines that had the Black Dragon Master, Saintess, or Heretic Questioner as the cover models. However, there was very little information on the early days in the tower. Like now, there were still many stories that I didn't know. I delved into my memories. Come to think of it, did I have any pictures of the Crusader? She'd never pampered as the cover model for a magazine. She was a hunter who was responsible for the tower's consciousness together with the Saintess and the Lord of the Alchemy Castle. Was there some kind of hidden secret? Does she cover her face not just for style, but also for a secret reason? The fan spirit in me fluttered after a long time. But I held it in because I didn't want to accidentally violate their privacy. When our eyes met, the Crusader coughed slightly. You still haven't told me why you brought me here. Black Dragon Master. If your goal was just to show the Death King that I'd taken the form of a mermaid, I will also expose your dark history. Oh my. What kind of dark history do I have? Something you write and publish anonymously whenever you have time. Death King. Show the Crusader that performance from before. The Black Dragon Master spoke hurriedly. What was that? Why were there so many secrets that only I didn't know even though we were all comrades? I was really curious. What do you write anonymously? Mr. Gongja. The Black Dragon Master grabbed my shoulders. A dark aura also began to rise up from the Black Dragon Master's body. There was even a strange smile on her lips. Everyone has one secret they absolutely wouldn't let others find out about. Don't you agree? Even the Death King sometimes comes up with ridiculous stories about prophets and such. Did this person know that I was lying? However, I wouldn't question you more than that. Because you are my colleague and my comrade. True friendship isn't about what you say to each other, but about what you don't say to each other. That's good. Mr. Gongja. Are you our friend? I nodded my head with difficulty. The fingers that held my shoulders in a death grip made something as easy as nodding difficult. Yes. Of course I am your friend.
Yeah.
My best friend. Somehow, I ended up becoming the Black Dragon Master's best friend. I'd be really happy if the Death King showed the fire play to the Crusader. That made me happy. I couldn't refuse my best friend's request. The Crusader was silent the entire time as she watched the fire play. Early in the morning, the actors were surprised to find a vampire and a mermaid watching their practice. They couldn't help but glance at the large bathtub in the center of the seating area with a mermaid in it. Indeed. The Crusader murmured to herself without paying attention to their gazes. Amazing. Death King, did you come up with this on your own? No. Fire plays have always been a thing. Really? What about the music and dance that was mixed in? Not those. I thought it would be nice to introduce choreography and music. The Crusader's eyes gleamed. Why did you think that? Fire plays were birthed from aura. If they learn choreography based on martial arts techniques, they would become more familiar with utilizing their aura, and if they learn to use their aura to make music, they would become more creative.
I
see. It's a completely different perspective. The Crusader's tail fluttered above the surface of the water. She was probably excited because she'd gotten her own understanding because of it. Death King. Do you know how interesting your discovery is? The Crusader's eyes sparkled as she looked at me. It was my first time seeing her like this. What do you mean? You have created a composite art with aura. The Crusader excitedly took a deep breath. Usually, operas and musicals are viewed as composite arts. However, music has always been an unresolved factor. No matter how natural it sounds, no matter how much heart and soul was put in it, music was the one component that had always been separate from the actor. What was she talking about? There is a saying that actors cannot directly interfere with music. The Crusader became more excited the more she talked. Whether it is background music or an in-house orchestra, the music that played in the theater was not done by the actors. They could sing in musicals, but they were limited to just that. I lowered my head in thought. The audience is forced to accept the illusion that it was music unfolding from the story, even though they knew what they were hearing was just music from the speakers. It was a basic understanding. But in the fire play you created, the actors can even play the music themselves. With aura. The Crusader raised her hand. This is an amazing step forward. The Crusader flicked her fingers. Then her aura created a melody in the air. It was more melodious and soothing than anything I'd ever played. Wow. I was honestly amazed. Was this what experts were like? Right. I want to learn music from the Crusader. So I can play for Raviel. No. That doesn't matter right now. The Crusader hit her chest in frustration. Something like that. It was too harsh. You need to understand how amazing your discovery is, Death King. Dancing and acting in the music created by someone has its meaning. But being able to supply the music, dance, and act with just one person. It's innovative. Imagine a figure skating athlete not only performing smoothly but also using aura to create music. I'm sorry, but can you summarize it? Damn it. Now isn't the time. After all, if it was just a compliment. He should have just complimented me. Thank you. I wasn't much. I smiled brightly and scratched the back of my head. Unbelievable. The Crusader couldn't help but lift her head and wonder as she suddenly felt bitter inside. I can't believe that the person who made the discovery doesn't know anything. Death King. This might develop into a trend known as aura art in the future. It's truly incredible. What did you say? I thought the Crusader was exaggerating too much. Isn't it common to strengthen your voice with aura? I'm not saying you created something that was never seen in this world before. It's better to say that you uncovered something that was already in the world but no one noticed. The Crusader sighed. When all the hunters only thought of aura for combat or strengthening the body, you found that it could also be used as an invisible instrument. Actors can now raise their inner music as much as they want without needing to rely on props or gadgets. It's not just actors either. Musicians, dancers, singers, everyone. And the Black Dragon Master naturally grabbed the Crusader's shoulders and joined the conversation. It'll be something to brag about to the outside world. The Black Dragon Master smiled. The outside world badmouths us every day, saying we're savages who only know how to fight. When we didn't make money, they called us beggars, but the moment we started making money, they only knew how to say vulgar things. Now I want to see what those bastards will say since we've made such an amazing achievement in art. Artists who only know how to make money well? Is that going to become the new insult? Black Dragon Master. I felt mixed emotions. I don't think I need to say this, but the Black Dragon Master is very competitive when it comes to the outside world. Sometimes, it's a bit sad. So noisy. You're only saying that because you don't know how badly our tower is mistreated. Her words were harsh but her tone was soft. The Black Dragon Master turned to look at me. It was as though she was looking at a good luck charm. With a happy smile, she put her hands on the Crusader and my shoulders at the same time. Death King.
Yeah.
Crusader. What is it? I have a bad feeling. I want to promote this on a national level. The Black Dragon Master smiled angelically. It was a smile she never showed to her friends. It was the smile she used while doing interviews or taking photos for magazines. I thought about it for a while and realized that the Death King, this child, had adapted what he'd been through into the fire play. Isn't the Death King or Tower's beloved rookie and most popular star? I think it would be good if we took this, performed it back at the Tower of Babel, recorded it, then spread it across the world. Wouldn't the artists outside be so shocked that they would rush over here to learn aura? The expression of the Crusader, who didn't understand at first, changed. I got several movie offers but I turned them all down. I think it would ruin the Death King's image if we make a strange adaptation. Movie offers? There was something like that too? From what I can see, the fire play would be better than a movie.
Yeah.
It's an art form created by our tower, showing the story of our top star. How could it not be amazing? I was confused. Why was the scale of this conversation getting even higher than I expected? No, wait a minute. I don't. Without a doubt. The Crusader held her chin as she nodded. Her flatfish-like tail also moved smoothly in the water. Our tower doesn't have very much in the way of art. There are many who do things like jazz performances or novels, but we have very few large performances. That's what I'm saying. I've tried to encourage it a few times, but it failed every time. Every time, I can only take movies from the outside and perform them here, but the royalties are enormous. They only pay us more when we make deals on behalf of the tower. Seriously. Isn't it disgusting? Let's give it a shot. Aura is something only we hunters in the tower have. Now, we too will move away from being cultural importers and become cultural exporters instead. That's not bad. The Black Dragon Master and the Crusader both turned to look at me. The two then smiled and nodded. Death King, you really are amazing. Right. It's clear that the Death King is a genius. What was this? Something didn't seem right. What are you talking about all of a sudden? Are you trying to embarrass me? No. We're serious. You know martial arts, swordsmanship, and aura, don't you? And now you've even touched art. I was ranked second for a long time, but I really can't beat you, Death King. Death King. I wonder just how far can go with your talent. No. The tower's greatest genius. The greatest rookie of all time. Talent might be a word created just for the Death King. I can't help but think that whenever I see you. Damn it. Why did the heavens have to put me in the same era as the Death King? I was getting dizzy. Wait a minute, everyone, wait. If it weren't for the Death King, we might not have even been able to defeat the 10th floor by now. Seriously, it was the worst. But thanks to the Death King, we were able to skip over the 30th floor without a hitch. My words exactly. No wonder I lost my place as second in the rankings. There's no point to someone like me being second. As one of the original members of the tower, I'm a bit ashamed. Death King, you are the one who makes me feel ashamed. If you are the sun, then I am a shadow that had no choice but to hide behind something when you started to rise. Crazy. No. Guys, wait. I was really dizzy. He's really cool. Our Death King. I can't believe he's our comrade. I'm so moved that I can't help but make it a pride of my life. By climbing the tower with the Death King, I will remain as a legend even if I die, drawing the envy of countless people. It gives me such joy. Shh. *T. Awesome. Amazing. Colossal. Death King. He is a legend. It's hard to believe. I really can't believe it. I had difficulty breathing. Thank you. Thanks for the compliments, but that much is. Then should we create an art guild and put the Death King as the leader? Can we borrow the Death King's revered name for a while?
Yeah.
Since that's the case, please stop. I feel like I'm going to die. I also plan to be the vice leader. You don't have to worry. All the Death King needs to do is give his name. We'll handle the rest on our own. We can't cause trouble for a great person like the Death King. I'm dying. Right. Please accept this seal. Guild leader. I didn't know what it was, but I accepted the seal the Black Dragon Master gave to me. Thanks, Death King. A lot of money might suddenly appear in your bank account. So don't be too surprised. Use it well. In the midst of my dizziness, I heard a sigh in the background. TCH. Such an easy bastard. And Sonia stared at us with an incomprehensible expression. Chapter 191. Prima Donna 3. The The Black Dragon Master and the Crusader seemed to have reached a mutual understanding. Death King. Let us participate in this performance too. It's been a long time since I stopped composing, but I still have a number of scores in my head. We can incorporate our world's music. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Why were they so eager? Why were their eyes sparkling? They were starting to seem unfamiliar. The music you made is great, but let me be in charge of the music. No. It would be better if you made me assistant director. Then I'll be the screenwriter. Since it's a dance play, should I call myself a director instead of the screenwriter? Senior director? Since it's a new art, I'll need to think of a name for my role. Hugh. I slowly let out a breath. Somehow, I'd managed to calm myself down, though my head still felt hot. All right. I'd be happy to have your help with the performance if it would increase the level. It is the cultural heritage that will be ingrained in the blood and flesh of those goblin kids. Right. The Black Dragon Master smiled softly. It was like the sunset on a watercolor painting. I like that about you. Huh? They weren't going to bombard me with more compliments, right? I cautiously looked at the Black Dragon Master. But she only giggled. After finding the correct answer, you take advantage of it. Always. What are you talking about? I mean, you always set up flags and dig up sand first. When watching from the side, it feels like you are full of tricks. I wonder if your soulmate is like that too. Her words were confusing. When she saw the confusion on my face, she laughed. Never mind. Let's pick a name for your guild. That's a good idea. The Crusader agreed. The name is important. As far as I remember, there are only a handful of art guilds in Dongchen City. Perhaps there are about 30 jazz performance guilds? There are 26. There is 1 chamber orchestra, and 11 quartet bands. The number of guilds that stopped their activities shouldn't be above 50. Even then, most of their members went to other guilds. It's so little, so little. The Black Dragon Master sighed. Can you think of a good name? Well. How about the Raviol Theater Company? I think that's perfect. I can't think of anything good. It's hard to come up with an original name. How about Black Dragon? Me either. How about Order Watch? Wait. Weren't they ignoring my opinion too naturally? It was so natural that I almost didn't realize I was being ignored. Raviol has a nice ring to it. If you keep going, I'll name it the Kim Gongja Theater Company. Let's seriously think of a name. The 3 of us put our heads together and tried to think of something. Several suggestions came up. Coming Day, Ink Sound, Babel, Aura. That's not good either. After the name meeting stretched on way too long, the Black Dragon Master finally made a decision. Usually, for cases like this, it is standard to just use the names of the founding members. Let's combine the names Black Dragon Master, Crusader and Death King to make something nice. We can do that? MHM. We should use the Death King's mother tongue. Since he is the founder, we should show him this bit of consideration. The Black Dragon Master asked about my mother tongue. We were all speaking Ukrainian, Venezuelan, and Korean. But it was being automatically translated by the tower. Note, Venezuelan is basically Spanish. Fine. After hearing my explanation, the Black Dragon Master nodded. So we'll take from Black Dragon Master, from Crusader, and from Death King, to make Black Knight? 1. Wow. I felt numb. Black Dragon Master. Hey, Black Dragon Master. Feeling a shiver down my spine, I tapped my companion and new best friend's shoulder. Can you take a look at my hand? It looks fine to me. Why? My hand feels tingly right now. Please stretch my hand. All right. As you wish. The Black Dragon Master grabbed my finger before bending it backwards. Kuak. Is that enough? It's so bad. I jumped up. What kind of theater company would be called Black Knight? It's embarrassing. Shameful. Death King. Your title is Death King. Literally, King of Death. Can you still afford to call something shameful? No, you mean, Black Dragon Master, shouldn't say things like that to me. Don't say it in English. The Black Dragon Master grabbed my collar. Do you want to die? You started it first. If you can't do it right, then don't do it. And for English speakers, my name is translated to Queen, not Master. So you're not the Black Dragon Master, you're the Black Dragon Queen. You must be proud. Wouldn't the abbreviation be BDQ? Hey, if I ordered chicken, you think I could get it in 30 minutes? Fine. All right. Let's call in Kim Gongja Theater Company. Black Knight is good enough. I surrendered. Should I say it sounds high class just from the name? I don't think there's any other candidate for theater name that sticks to the tongue quite like that one. As expected of the Black Dragon Master. Not only is her guild the best, but her naming sense is also the best. Black Knight, so good. Let's go with Black Knight. Right. You surrendered right away. The Crusader watched our dogfight with a strange, bitter smile on her face. The mermaid's tail fluttered, sending ripples across the surface of the water. You guys are really close. I'm amazed. The Black Knight Theater Company. I would be the guild leader and the Black Dragon Master and the Crusader would be deputy guild leaders. It was a guild founded jointly by the 2nd, 3rd and 7th in the rankings. It had quite a luxurious composition. Even if it's arts. With this group of people. My lips subconsciously curled upwards. Perhaps when the guild officially launched, the world would go crazy. I was starting to find this interesting too. I wonder how people will react. Me too. The Black Dragon Master grinned like a naughty child. Even though she currently had the appearance of an old vampire, her playful smile suited her well. I bet a lot of people will be upset. Naturally, we'll keep it a secret from the others too. Let's invite the old man when we have our first performance. I really wonder what kind of expression he'd make. All of a sudden, I got the urge to see the Black Dragon Master make that smile with her original face. I wasn't sure why, but I just felt that it would look cool. Fine. I smiled too. Fine. We talked all night about the performance we'd have. The play that we decided on was Raviel and Kekrikar. According to the Black Dragon Master, Kekrikar was too strange, so the name was changed to Heart of Silver. The main character must be Duke Ivantia. There's no room for argument. Instead of choosing characters and letting them appear, let's display the Duke's psychological changes with the choreography. We should portray the moment of falling in love dramatically. We'll turn the stage into a ballroom. We'll also cover the stage in white rose petals and have the actors dance upon them. That would be pretty. Everyone was excited. Several empty wine bottles lay beside us. We were having the meeting while drinking. The moment they fall in love, the flowers being stopped on by Princess Ivantia will change from white to red. 1, 2, 3. That way, a red bridge will be created on the White Sea. The Death King would have to walk step by step in order to cross over the Flower Sea to the Ivantia Hall. The Black Dragon Master got up. I can't do this anymore. I like this too much. I want to start on it right away. Is there any place with nice flowers around here? We look for them with teleportation. Let's go. The Black Dragon Master and I got into the Crusader's bathtub and we all held hands. The three of us were transferred somewhere. We didn't know exactly where we were, but it didn't matter. It was a place where white flowers were in full bloom. We followed the scent of the flowers while walking around the foot of the mountain. It was night. Beneath the bright moonlight, the flowers released their fragrances. There were valleys with yellow flowers, and ridges with purple flowers. We smiled for a moment before beginning our search for white flowers. Good. We laughed like drunkards. Do you realize we're flying in the sky in a bathtub? Humans are born from water. You've lost your mind. We're drunk. This is bad. We can't let people from the tower see this. We stopped at a meadow. It was filled with white flowers that were bowing their heads because of the wind. As soon as we landed, the Black Dragon Master swiftly left the bathtub and took off her shoes. This is more than enough, Death King. He became a fool. Crusader. Right. The Crusader smiled helplessly and raised both arms. Her fingers grew closer. Slowly. A bit more slowly. As her fingers stretched into the air, the Crusader's face became expressionless. Underscore 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 underscore. Music filled the night sky. The Crusader's fingers danced in the air. It was as if an invisible piano was laid down before her. The flowers shifted. Every time he touched an invisible white key, the aura in the night sky vibrated. As expected, your skills didn't rust. So noisy. You need to understand your possessiveness for your lover. The melody became intense. The sound of the piano buried our words. The chatter subsided and only the vampire's laughter could be heard over the music. It's been so long since I've heard Libertango, too. The Black Dragon Master stepped on the white rose petals with her bare feet. The petals beneath her turned black. Underscore 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 underscore. The Crusader's fingers seemed to awaken the night. The Black Dragon Master's footsteps dyed the flowers. Different colored aura flowed from the petals as though they were bleeding. A dance according to the melody. One step with each gesture. Like this, black footprints spread across the white flower field. Death King. Pretty. You look stupid. I like white. You're pretty quick for a half-wit. So noisy. The sounds of our laughter, music and footsteps melded together. The Crusader hummed. I really like the tower. The Black Dragon Master spoke while she danced. I wish I had come here sooner. Then maybe my father would have lived with me. I like the tower too. Don't be so slow, Death King. The scent of the black flowers was dizzying. You can't always be slow. You're right. Can we live well? Yes. I want to be happy. Forever. We're friends. That's right. Everything's gonna be all right. MHM. The old vampire grabbed my finger. Let's dance. Kim Gongja. If you thought life was a single-player game, it just meant you hadn't found someone to play with. Round and round, we danced. The white flowers that the black dragon master stepped on turned black. The petals crushed beneath my feet turned red, very red. Black and red ripples spread out as we danced, and soon the white field was filled with black and red. Underscore 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 dot. The crusader played the piano and slowly opened her mouth. Lascia chio pianga. Mia cruda sort, e che sospirai. La libertà. E che sospirai. 0. La libertà, the tower swallowed the crusader's song and didn't spit it out again. It was just left alone in the night air. We were 3 people who were left alone in the night, bewitched by the wicked white flowers, and collapsed. My eyes didn't reopen until late in the afternoon. The sun shined brightly. The crusader laid in her fish tank, occasionally flapping her tail, and the black dragon master had fallen asleep with her nose buried in a rosebud. In other words, they were people who'd gotten completely drunk. Holding my head, I shakily got to my feet. Sonia was standing before me. Lord Kakerker. His voice was serious. What is it? My head hurts. That alcohol was so bad. I would like to personally act in the next performance. I raised my head to look at Sonia. An unknown desire shined in his blue eyes. I want to be like. No. Sonia said. I want to live like you. Chapter 192. Prima Donna, 4. Words of resolution. I had waited for those words. I roused the aura in my body. And my drunkenness slowly faded. I'm coming to my senses. In our tower, if you're not alone, then it's not polite to stop drinking till you're drunk, was common sense. But while I loved this drinking courtesy, it would be rude to listen to Sonia while drunk. Especially for such a serious matter. My clothes. What the hell? Why is my top a mess? How drunk did I get last night? Maybe it was because it had been a while since I last drank. Sorry, Sonia. Would it be okay for me to wash up before we start talking? I want to hear what you have to say with a clean body. If you need to. I do. Anyone who intended to confide an important resolution to me deserved to be treated with respect. There should be a stream nearby. I'll wash up first, so can you wait a bit? Yes. Sonia answered in a slightly strange tone. I went to the stream and washed up. I had spotted it the night before while riding in the bathtub. As I immersed myself in the cool pool, the rest of my drunkenness faded. And after reciting the complete infernal heaven's demonic art in my head, I got up. Let's sit and talk. Yes. Sonia and I sat facing each other. You want to act in the next performance yourself? Sonia nodded. That means you want to continue as an actor instead of retiring. Yes. Can you tell me why? Sonia took some time to think about it. It seemed that he was choosing his words carefully. Looking at the determined face in front of me, I suddenly had a thought that was completely different from the current situation. I'm just like the director. Whenever a child wanted to confide something to him, the director always prepared thoroughly. First, he made sure his body and mind were calm. As soon as I woke up, I immediately got rid of my drunkenness and washed myself. Something that reminded me of the director. Right. I patiently waited for Sonia. It's not that I hate the thought of living like that. As I dried my hair with aura before continuing to dry it in the sun, Sonia opened his mouth. In fact, I really like this free windfall. Yes. Neither my family nor my race can ignore me. The gold coins in my coffers are amazing. Thanks to Lord Kekerker, I can live happily for the rest of my life, but... Sonia turned his head slightly. The Black Dragon Master and the Crusader, who were still in the flower field, were talking in their sleep. The Black Dragon Master was muttering things that didn't make sense like, you have to start slowly. While the Crusader continuously groaned the same thing, no, it's a misunderstanding, no. It was a mystery exactly what was starting or what was a misunderstanding. They were my colleagues, but sometimes they were really interesting. Yesterday made me certain. Sonia looked at each one of us in turn. You all were drinking, dancing, and talking. I felt your life. I felt that I wanted that life. No. I desired to have a life like that. Sonia's hand on his lap clenched. I don't know why I found life in just the sound of your breathing and talking. But I want to be in it as well. I want to go on stage too. Like you all. I too. I want to be beautiful too. I nodded. I had also been in the same situation as Sonia. So at that moment, I understood Sonia's resolution the most. I will help you. I opened the civilization store. Purchased dream appearance. Note, poor Sonia. 100 points have been deducted. You currently have 6,602 race points. Until now, you have been watching me for a closer spot than anyone else. You saw my choreography, acting and how to use aura all in real time as if you were in a class. Theoretically, I have nothing more to teach you, so all that's left is for you to gain experience. Yes. But before I help you, there's something I'd like to ask. I gave him my kindest smile. As the young master of the demonic cult and the successor of the infernal heaven's demonic art, it was a necessity to have at least this much style. Sonia, how many days can you survive without food? Silence fell. The elf, who was born to a rich merchant family, tilted his head to the side. Huh? That was a good response. It took less than 30 minutes for Sonia's cute expression to be broken by a scream. After the hellish training, it was finally the day of the performance. For me, it would be the last performance I directed in this world. But for Sonia, it would be his debut performance. The quest, the warring theaters period, the crisis of classics progresses. Current heretic erosion rate is 11%. The quest for this stage was progressing smoothly. The fire play style I created, the so-called dance play, had already begun to spread around the city. It was no longer just dog sound, other theater companies had begun to sneakily ride this trend. Now, even if I didn't do anything more, the quest would be completed.
Yeah.
It's my first time watching from the audience's perspective. I smiled happily. Below me, customers filled every seat. It really feels different. How about you, Black Dragon Master? Aren't you nervous? Why would I be nervous? The Black Dragon Master flicked her hair to the back. She looked relaxed, but she couldn't hide her clenched fists. Holding back my laughter, I turned my head. The Crusader looks completely fine? I've been on the stage many times, and I used to run a jazz bar. So I've gotten used to it to an extent. That doesn't mean I don't feel some nervousness though. You ran a jazz bar? That's an old story from the second year after we entered the tower. The Crusader smiled bitterly. In the past, I wanted to make a living by doing jazz. Luckily, people liked my music. For reference, the Black Dragon Master was no longer a vampire, and the Crusader was no longer a mermaid. We were floating in the air and looking at the show in our original forms. All three of us had left the person possession. I proudly opened the jazz bar that had been my dream in the outside world. In many ways, it was a great experience. The Black Dragon Master tilted her head to the side. You told me not to talk about those days. Why are you suddenly telling Death King about it? I changed my mind. Humph. You've always been back and forth like this. What was the name of your jazz bar again? I can't remember. Little Venice. Right. It was Venice. You really messed it up. The Black Dragon Master snickered. You borrowed money from some bad guys. You owed them a lot of money. I heard about it while drinking with the mafia. They said they'd found an S-class pushover and hit the jackpot. I've always had trouble managing money. Fix it. That's why the civil militia always struggles with funding. Well, we were able to have a good relationship because of that. I pointed to the stage. Shh. I think it's starting. The Black Dragon Master and the Crusader immediately shut their mouths and focused on the stage. The Black Dragon Master wrote the script, the Crusader composed the music, and I did the choreography. All three of us worked very hard to direct it. The first collaboration between us three. The actors stepped onto the dark stage. The Black Dragon Master trembled nervously. She hadn't trembled when she climbed the walls of the Egyptian Empire and gave a speech to the soldiers. So it was a bit surprising that she'd be nervous at a time like this. I lightly grabbed the Black Dragon Master's arm. Death King.
Yeah.
Why are you holding my elbow? It's standard to hold hands, but Raviol's hands are the only hands I'm allowed to hold. It's kind of embarrassing to hold hands with friends. But it would feel like too much to put my arm around your shoulder, wouldn't it? So I compromised with the elbow.
Ha!
The Black Dragon Master let out a short laugh. You really are crazy. I think that's a minority opinion, Black Dragon Queen. Seriously. The Black Dragon Master sighed. Nevertheless, as she watched the performance, her face was much more relaxed. And she was no longer trembling. Gosh. I guess everyone is still a bit inexperienced with using aura. It's still pretty good. You can't expect them to be on our level. It seems a bit hard to perform both the music and the choreography at the same time. But the music is better than expected. At least it's not so bad that I can't listen to it. We whispered among ourselves. I could also hear the whispers of the audience below us. Hugo. Doesn't this feel worse than usual? Is it? This is my first time. I'm not really sure, but the aura feels weaker than usual. It's a subtle difference. As expected. The audience noticed it immediately. It was the absence of my influence in the performance. Until now, I had always coordinated with the actors while on stage. I used my aura to fill in any gaps in their performances and directed the music. But in this performance, the actors were doing the choreography, using their aura and making the music without me. Huff. Hup. The one-eyed Erica, the one-armed Yummer, and the one-eared Sokkum all danced to the best of their ability while also barely releasing the portion of the melody assigned to them. Of course, Sonia was the same. I could see every drop of sweat these children shed. It's fine. I clenched my fist. Everything will work out. Kids. You all are ready to succeed. Hang in there. The murmurs in the audience grew louder and louder. The most disappointed ones were the regular audience members who enthusiastically followed the Dog Sound Theater Company. What is this? Something's not right. Those kinds of words were coming from all over the room. The three of us all gulped silently. The climax of the performance was approaching. All of the actors stopped moving. The music that they were playing with their aura also stopped. The dark theater was immediately engulfed in silence, which shocked the audience. Before this shock could develop into anything else, ClassRevivalHunter, played by Sonia, opened her mouth. Lasha, Chio Pianga. Accompanied by a red aura, a song rang out loudly. As soon as the song escaped from his lips, the audience flinched. Sonia recited the song he learned while vomiting blood. Mia cruda, sort. It was impossible for me to teach him to use aura on a similar level to me in such a short period of time. So the three of us put our heads together to come up with another idea for a performance. For the first time in our theater, a scene where one actor sings alone was introduced. Good. I couldn't help but whisper when I saw the reactions of the audience. It's working. It's working. Our theater company was famous for not having lines. Sometimes the actors made sounds while they danced, but it was usually nonsensical things like woo and hook, or primitive expressions with deliberately obscure meanings. No one in the audience expected an opera's aria. La Liberta. Sonia had the ability to turn this unexpected twist from displeasure to pleasure. It was only through extensive teaching and training that this moment was made possible. A lone elf sang in the darkness. La Liberta. The hobgoblins witnessed the aria in shocked silence. We could see our success in their eyes. What a relief!
Yeah.
Although we used a trick. It was a situation where we had no choice but to use tricks. Even if the overall level is lowered, if the climax is worth it, then they can overcome the situation. I can breathe easy. We happily continued to watch the performance. Current heretic erosion rate is 10%. Successfully lowered the heretic erosion rate to 10% or lower. Quest cleared. Just in time, I heard the tower's voice telling me the quest had been completed. I looked at Sonia and the other actors for a bit longer before getting to my feet. Let's go. All ready? I'm satisfied with seeing those kids do well without me. If I see the audience start applauding them, I might end up crying. We should go now. I never would have thought you had weak tear glands, says the Black Dragon Queen who cried on the 11th floor. Do you think I wouldn't hit you? The Black Dragon Master and the Crusader also got up. Although it was a bit early, and no one could hear us, we gave the actors a round of applause. On the stage, the aria ended and the dance resumed. It'll be okay. I looked at Sonia, who was sweating profusely and doing his best. Farewell. And I declare stage clear. The three of us spoke almost at the same time. The Black Dragon Master declares stage clear. The Crusader declares stage clear. Stage clear. Just before my vision faded, I saw Sonia look up above the audience. He was looking at where I was floating. It should have been impossible, but it felt like I made eye contact with Sonia at that moment. You have cleared the 34th floor. Your compensation will be settled after entering the 35th floor. Chain layers in progress, you will be sent directly to the 35th floor. White light covered us. Chapter 193. I didn't mean to do that. 1. The light that obscured my vision faded. The three of us appeared in the pure white space once again. The Black Dragon Master, the Crusader, and me. It was nice to get an unexpected gain in this stage. The Black Dragon Master stretched. She clasped her hands together and leaned to the side in a pose that reminded me of the guys from the badminton club warming up on the mountain behind the village. I want to hurry back to Dongchen City and establish Black Knight first. That'd be hard. We have to attack up to the 40th floor consecutively. I know, really? If the rumor that the Diva of the Night Sky was returning, it wouldn't just affect 1 or 2 people. There are a lot of kids who miss listening to the Crusaders' piano. I haven't fully decided yet. The Crusader tapped the Black Dragon Master on the shoulder with a bitter smile. What is it? I told you not to call me by my old nickname. Besides, it hasn't been confirmed whether I'll go on stage or not. I'll need to ask my person for permission first. Note, my person blush. That's not permission, that's a sanction. The Black Dragon Master clicked her tongue. I'm telling you, your lover is also pretty sick in the head. They're so obsessed. I mean, who tells their significant other to wear a helmet all the time and not let others see their face? It's cute. A desire for monopoly like that is so lovely. Look at this. You're a nut job. Just as the Black Dragon Master sighed heavily. The venomous snake, who leads the Oni race, has declared stage clear. The Sword Saint, who leads the human race, has declared stage clear. 0. Our companions that we hadn't seen in a while arrived one after the other. Yo. It's been a while. The venomous snake waved his hand at us. Anyone who saw this would just accept it as a greeting from their colleague. But for me, who'd received the teachings of Emperor Ranabel, I found it hard to accept a greeting like, yo. It was sad. I really didn't want to know. Everyone declared stage clear as if you planned it beforehand. Hey. Did the 3 of you sneakily create an alliance? Well. We made something that's much more exciting than an alliance. Huh? Really? What is it? It's a secret. The venomous snake was brimming with curiosity, but neither the Black Dragon Master nor the Crusader was willing to satisfy him. If we were to hold a straight-face competition in the tower, they were the 2 that would probably compete for first place. In the end, the venomous snake was not able to get any of the answers he wanted. No. Shh. *T. What is this? When did you 3 become so close? Damn. I feel left out. At the same time, the Sword Saint looked at us with a faint expression. Surprise? Sorriness? Regret? His expression was hard for me to read because of his mixed emotions. The lady who walks through the mirage appears. While we had our conversation, the constellation in charge of the stage sneakily appeared. As always, the lady had a sleepy expression as if she had just woken up from a nap. Is everyone here? Anyone missing? We nodded. Right. Well done, everyone. To be honest, no one lost in this stage. All of you kids completed your quests. If it was possible, no one would be eliminated from this stage. She seemed troubled. The lady continued to mutter. I don't like nitpicking the small things, but Mula, the tower master, is a perfectionist. I'm sorry, but this means I'll have to pick the one among you with the worst performance and eliminate them. Let's see. Of course, it won't be the Death King. Excuse me. The Crusader raised her hand. Does that mean that one of us will be eliminated? MHM. Please tell us why. There are many reasons. I wish I could tell you everything, but I also have prohibitions. Originally, I could do what I wish up to security level 6, but now, why does it feel like I can only talk about things up to security level 3? Suddenly, the lady turned to look at me. Actually, it was someone else that caused this. That's right. I recalled the lady's identity. A being with higher authority than the constellations. The tower's pillar. I had faced the pillars before. When I accepted the starving ghost to my side. And when Raviel obtained the a returner's lover skill. After the 30th floor, the theme is self-awareness. One of the pillars opened her mouth. The Black Dragon Master, who loved the tower more than anyone else, responded immediately. Theme? Self-awareness? Now. I'll only accept one question per person. The lady smiled softly. This is your reward for the 34th floor. Since you kids are unique, you'd like this as a reward instead of racial points, right? The eyes of every hunter in the group lit up. We lived in the tower, but we were ignorant of it. Why the tower suddenly appeared in our world. Why towers had different structures on each floor. There were many hunters who were filled with curiosity, but had no way to find answers. This was because there was no one to give them the answers. But such a person had now appeared in front of us. You can ask from the lowest rank to the highest. And you can't discuss with each other beforehand. If it's something I can't answer, I will tell you honestly that I can't. Then you'll get to ask another question. Silence fell. We exchanged gazes. The condition of us not being able to discuss with each other stopped us from talking. The Crusader looked at each of us before nodding. What is the meaning of the tower's existence? That's a pretty broad question. The tower is a world. If I were to tell you the meaning of the world, that would be pretty philosophical. Is that what you want? It's not. Then please elaborate more with your question. The Crusader thought for a moment. I want to know how the towers are built. There is a tower in our world. But there are some worlds without towers. Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon was like that, and Tales of Somerwin Academy was like that too. So how are the towers built? Dash. You're suddenly stabbing at the core. Can I tell you that? I think I can tell you. The lady stretched out a pale hand. Shook. The ground cracked open like tofu and a pillow came out of it. Holding the pillow with peach symbols in her hands, she slowly opened her mouth. There just needs to be someone living the unhappiest life in that world. Please understand if any of my answers seem ambiguous. As I said, my security level has been lowered. However, anyway, the tower is built by the owner. The owner lives on behalf of the life of the unhappiest person in the world. The tower is built in a world that the owner has already lived in and passed. Worlds without towers are those that the owner hasn't passed by yet. What? Next. The Crusader tried to ask more questions, but the lady resolutely turned her attention away. Next was the hunter in 6th place. The venomous snake. The viper frowned. The unhappiest person that you mentioned. What determines that?
Yeah.
That's a bit tough. Unhappiness has a very large spectrum. Sometimes it's hard to determine exactly who is the unhappiest. The lady smiled. So he has to live many lives. Next. The Count, who was ranked 5th, and the heretic questioner, who was ranked 4th, had been eliminated. Therefore, the next in line was the Black Dragon Master. After hearing the unexpected answers, the Black Dragon Master looked sharply at the lady. What is the theme you mentioned? For beings like you, is the tower just an amusement park, and we, the various attractions struggling within? Ahaha. The lady burst into laughter. That would be amazing. I would be much more relaxed too. Well, to answer your question, that's not it. That's not in at all. The theme is similar to the aim of an exam. The aim of an exam? MHM. For example, a person develops over the course of their life, don't they? It's often said that people raise their children, but people raise children and raise themselves at the same time. You gradually learn about yourself. In a similar sense, the theme for the 30th floor is self-awareness. That's all. Why are you giving us tests? Next. The lady turned to look at me. What would you like to ask, Death King? I looked at the lady hugging her pillow in front of me. There was nothing like this before I returned. To be precise, it didn't appear. Before I returned, I had never seen the name, the lady who walks through the mirage, in any of the strategy guides. There wasn't even a mention of it. The lady appeared because of Hamustra's fall. Hamustra had said that she was quite the high-ranking constellation. Since Hamustra had fallen, the lady had come down to fill his spot. And Hamustra fell because of me. So it's highly likely that it's my fault the lady appeared. If that was the case then, I decided on what question to ask. Why do you favor me so much? It was pretty strange. The lady slept all the time. It didn't seem like she worked at all. And as the lady herself said, I was the one who caused this. Even if she didn't have bad feelings towards me, it shouldn't have been possible for the lady to favor me so much.
The
lady frowned. It appeared that I had asked a question she didn't want to answer. There are too many listeners right now. I'll tell you the answer later. Next. Wait a minute. Next dash. The lady determinedly passed my turn. I had no choice but to close my mouth. The sword saint, who was finally given his turn, asked a question. What is at the top of this tower? The memories you've experienced so far sparkle like beautiful treasures. Sorry. I'm just kidding. In any case, I can't answer that question. If I answer that, Mula Gaga. Nail. The lady gripped her pillows tightly. Seriously. In any case, the owner of the tower will be really angry. Understood. Then, who is the strongest swordsman you know? For some reason, Beihurayung straightened his shoulders. He was shaking and showing off his presence. Was he trying to send a message in Morse code or something? Lefant. However, in a heartless blow to both of them, the name the lady said was completely different. The Absolute Sword Master. It was an answer without hesitation. In terms of strength as a swordsman, there is no one who can match the Absolute Sword Master, Zaku. No, perhaps I'm being a bit too strict? Phew. In any case, he is the Duke of a kingdom and a noble who has the right to not be punished when he kills someone as long as they're not a member of the royal family. In other words, he's strong enough to kill anyone. In terms of skills, what's the gap between that person and me? That's meaningless. The lady spoke bluntly. A skill gap can only be discussed when the levels are similar. The sword saint's eyebrows twitched. It's not even worth discussing? MHM. Don't let your pride be too wounded. The Absolute Sword Master is the first Duke. He's an old monster that's been alive for more than 2,000 years. I probably shouldn't call him a monster. He's more like a natural disaster. I don't think you'll ever meet that person though. So don't worry. Crunch. The sword saint clenched his fists. Not just me, but my other companions were also a bit shocked. It can't even be compared. He was an old man who had thrown away all of his worldly possessions and status and jumped into the tower. With nothing but his sword, he honed his skills and as a result, ignored everything else. Even if he didn't show it on his face, his pride was clearly hurt. Now then, while I give the Death King his answer, everyone, please wait for a bit. Pack. The lady clapped her hands. Then, my companions were engulfed in white light and disappeared in an instant. They had probably been sent to another place. In the blink of an eye, the lady and I were the only ones left in the white space. The lady hesitated for a moment before looking me in the eyes. I didn't know why this person, who was a pillar that stood above even constellations, was like this to me. Why are you like this? You dash.
The
lady put down her pillow. Sorry. And then she suddenly kneeled down and hit her forehead to her pillow. I was startled. What are you? I'm really sorry. Death King. The lady just shouted as she hit her forehead to the pillow. I am the pillar that gave the Flame Emperor his skill in the past. What? My body that was bending down to lift the lady froze. That, the golden skill the Flame Emperor had. Death King, you got it. No way. Are you talking about Returner's Clockwork Watch? right? That. I was actually the one who gave that skill. What was this? So I think I'm a bit responsible for him burning you to death. Only a little. No. I'm really sorry. Crazy. No, how do you know that? Chapter 194. I didn't mean to do that, too. So what happened was... should I just show you?
Yeah.
That would be better. The lady hit her head with her palms. It was a rather unsightly scene. At the same time as she did that, color began to spread in the white space. The surroundings began to change like VR. By the way, this scene. I wasn't sure why, but it felt familiar. Is this the hunting ground on the second floor? That's right. I finally recognized it. After all, before my return, it was a place I visited every day when I was living as an F-class hunter. It was also the place where I got rid of.
Yo. So? Ha!
Before he became the Flame Emperor. Then I heard a familiar voice in this space. Fuck. How many times do I have to die here? A man with black hair tied in a ponytail.
Yo. So? Ha!
You would think that if he didn't swear every time he opened his mouth, a rash would grow on his tongue. His cursing was so blatant that one would want to wash their ears after listening to him talk. Damn it. What kind of life is this? I'm getting sick and tired of chasing after these guys, fuck.
Yo. So? Ha!
Who had been embodied in VR, began chasing slimes. Hey. Dude. Can't you just stand still? The slime ran away and...
Yo. So? Ha!
Chased after it. The hunter had the appearance of a beginner. No matter how you looked at it, he couldn't have been higher than F-class. How long ago was this? It was a long time ago. From your perspective, I guess it would be, before your return. The lady answered without removing her hands from her head. At that time, the Flame Emperor had only reached the second floor like you. He hadn't awoken his skill yet. By the way. Before she could finish her sentence, a blonde girl appeared in the VR. It was the lady who walks through the mirage. While humming a tune, the lady skipped through the grass. Her pace was relaxed as if she was only taking a walk in a park. What the hell? Why is a brat in a place like this?
Yo. So? Ha!
Noticed the lady's presence immediately. Hey, brat. He walked behind the skipping lady and grabbed her by the collar. Regardless of if the lady only looked like a child on the outside, such an act was extremely rude. Nevertheless,
Yo. So? Ha!
lifted the lady by the collar as if it was natural. What are you doing here? The moment their eyes met. Congratulations. The lady smiled brightly as she held up a sign with both hands. The sign had the words, Golden Goblin Lottery, written in crooked letters. The first person to find and catch me is given a golden skill. You are really lucky. Today, you are the luckiest person in all of the towers. What is this? This crazy kid. If you check your status now, you will see your golden skill.
Bye.
Now. The lady disappeared after that as if to say that her business had been completed. Now.
Yo. So? Ha!
Was the only one left in the grass. What the hell? The VR illusion ended there. The space I was standing once again became plain like a page of drawing paper. The lady, who looked exactly the same as in the image, was still banging her head in front of me. I looked down at the back of the lady's pretty head. I still don't understand despite seeing it. Please explain. I sometimes hold Golden Goblin events. It's kind of like a game. I appear in any tower and walk around randomly, and the first person that catches me. You don't just give away golden skills, do you? No. Well, kind of. This is crazy. It was ridiculous. My mind was blank. The thing that suddenly came to mind was a distant memory of when people asked the Flame Emperor about his secret to success. He would frown. Sir Flame Emperor. Please summarize the secret of your success for aspiring students. Please advise them. If you were meant to succeed, you'll succeed. That was what the Flame Emperor always said. That's all. I have nothing more to say. So please stop following me. Before now, I'd always thought it was just a remark made from arrogance. But what if he'd managed to catch the Golden Goblin by chance and obtained an EX rank skill? He couldn't tell anyone about it. Even if he did say it, he would simply be taken for a crazy person. He literally had no choice but to say, if you were meant to succeed, you'll succeed. Why did you do that? There are two reasons, one is very personal and the other is very public. Which would you like to hear first? Let's start with the public reason. Among the pillars, there are bystanders and interveners. I'm an intervener. One of those who actively intervenes with the children climbing the towers. As part of that role, I hold many events, and the Golden Goblin is one of them. And the personal reason? It's a lot of fun. So that's why you hit your head.
Yeah.
I finally understand why I was treated so well by such a high-ranking member of the tower. I was a victim who had been murdered by the Flame Emperor.
Yo. So? Ha!
And the skill that made the Flame Emperor successful, Returner's Clockwork Watch, was nothing but a skill that had been given by a pillar for fun. In other words. So it was just victim compensation. It's not like that at all. My head hurt. I always wondered why that guy.
Yo. So? Ha!
Had such a good skill. However, it turned out to be something like this. It was like a story of a frog that had been killed by a rock that had been thrown for fun. I'm really sorry. TCH. I let out a sigh. So that's why you were sent down here? As punishment? There's someone with the authority to do that to a pillar? That's right. Mula, the tower master, ordered me to come down and regain my senses. Experience all the prohibitions. Right now, compared to my true form, my physical strength, force, intelligence, charm, and everything else is much weaker. Isn't it too much? The Tower Master is a great and wise leader. A really great and wise leader. It was a brilliant judgment. In any case, I would like to personally reward the Death King. Whenever a meeting is held, I secretly support you, but that's not enough, is it?
I
tapped my chin. I don't need to be compensated for the Flame Emperor issue now. Thanks to
Yo. So?
Returner's clockwork watch, I was able to make full use of. I want to become just like you. I had been able to live a successful life, and I was happy to meet Master and Raviel. Hey. Zombie. What are the pillars that you guys were talking about? As I pondered silently, the ghost behind me talked. Beihurayong had been with me through all my struggles, except for when I met the pillar. There's something like that. I'll explain later. After seeing the floating Beihurayong, I changed my mind. You're right. The lady should compensate me. With what? Should I give you a bunch of race points? I'd like that too, but no. I shook my head. Please show me how the kids lived after I left. Sonia, Erica, Sokam and Yumur. The kids that I touched. I want to see how those kids lived after I disappeared. If possible, I'd like to see Aburka and Gork too. My kids' later lives. I wanted to see it. Very badly. The lady slowly raised her head to look at me. Her eyes contained kindness as she looked at me. Death King, you're really greedy.
Yeah.
All right. I can do that much. The white space was dyed once again. Soon, I was able to see my kids' faces. Sonia didn't stop acting. It's fine. Since I left, Sonia suffered from countless bad reviews. It was said that his skill in using aura dropping significantly or that his skills were no longer comparable to what he'd shown before. Sonia's blood plays were never satisfactory enough for the goblins who had become more sophisticated after witnessing something extraordinary. It'll be okay. But Sonia didn't stop. He practiced until his fingernails broke and his toenails crumbled. You can do it. Sonia became less talkative. Except for when he was performing or rehearsing, he rarely opened his mouth. His attitude was decisive, as if he couldn't live unless he was on the stage. Beside this Sonia were the one-eyed Erica, the one-armed Yumur and the one-eared Sokam who. We just have to think about it like we're starting over from the beginning. The theater Kanpabi's reputation fell, but the actors didn't care. At first, the dance plays were novel and shocking, but now, the audience has gotten used to it. That's all. Don't be discouraged. If we continue performing, we will receive their praises once again. Ugher. A washed-up theater company. Despite receiving such an evaluation, the actors continued to do their job silently. Erica's long-lost mother returned. It was difficult for the two people, who had already lost the chance to share their lives together, to develop a mother-child relationship. Nevertheless, Erica allowed his mother to come into his life and they ate together occasionally. Most of the money Yumur earned while working as an actor was sent back to his hometown. The situation of the village hadn't been good since almost all of the young people had been killed. But thanks to Yumur's donations, the village was able to tide itself over until the next generation grew up. Sokam learned that his previous master's family had fallen. As he wasn't one to miss such an opportunity, Sokam hurriedly ran over and threw a silver coin at his old master, who had become a beggar that sat at the side of the street. He then left happily under the old master's blank gaze. Time passed. Sonia's face was now filled with wrinkles. Sonia, who had spent all of his life on the stage, still had clear eyes. His life had been small, but it had filled a small place. Note, would you believe it if I told you this was the first time the author used a pronoun, female, for Sonia? It's a bit late to change it now, so I'll leave it as is. As he sat alone in the empty audience seats, he looked at the theater stage, where there was no part that his feet hadn't touched. I lived a good life. Sonia's eyes narrowed as he looked at the stage, reflecting on the way he danced like a shadow upon it. I wish I was a bit kinder to people. Sonia closed his eyes. It was hard to guess what he was thinking. Lord Kekerker. Then the scene changed. Unlike the delicate Sonia, the hobgoblin that appeared was as large as a mountain. A warrior who had been recognized as the strongest in goblin history. The #1 chairman of the Fire River Council. There is no reason for me to rule anymore. Aberka stood at the top of the world for more than 20 years after I left. Countless warriors had challenged him in that time, but he had never been defeated. The undefeated fighter. One day, he announced his resignation. I will now step down from my position as chairman and only focus on the path of martial arts. The hobgoblins protested. They were now beginning to get used to Aberka's iron fist ruling, so they couldn't help but be shocked when he announced his abdication. But Aberka held firm. I even feel like it's too late. You go. It wasn't hard for me to stabilize the situation with the snails or suppress the continent. I've already completed the things I set out to do 20 years ago, so I will now live for myself. Don't worry. I'm not going to come back. I'm cutting all ties with the world. Where are you going, Chairman? I'm not going anywhere. Aberka grinned. I'm waiting for my daddy to come. After that, Aberka left Guru and climbed a mountain. It was the Spirit Mountain, the most rugged and treacherous mountains on the continent. In this place, a blizzard raged all year round. And it was at the very top that Aberka crossed his legs and sat down. Daddy comes to the world every few hundred years. In his quiet meditation, he muttered. As I am today, I would only be able to last for another 150 years. I need to go beyond my current realm. There was a hint of joy in Aberka's voice. Come, Daddy. I'll be waiting for you. The blizzard engulfed Aberka. The scene that was supposed to end there continued. The lady didn't revert the scenery like the last time. 1 minute passed, then 3 minutes, but the cold winds of Spirit Mountain continued to blow around me. Hey, lady? MHM. I think I've already seen the end of Aberka's later life. No. The lady smiled brightly. It's not over yet. The lady's smile carried a hint of playfulness. No way. I felt my heart thump in my chest. Even though I had a feeling, I couldn't easily accept it. Do you mean that he's still alive? Aberka. When we parted, I clearly remembered that child's smiling face which seemed to say, I'll definitely live for a long time. Naturally, I thought he died. Aberka had already become a legend in the goblin race. But what if Aberka had managed to succeed in reaching the rejuvenating body stage? Did he really manage to survive? A voice shook slightly without me realizing. When she saw me like that, the lady's lips curved slightly. MHM. You want to meet him? The next stage. On the 35th floor, I decided to meet the child I wanted to see the most. Chapter 195. I didn't mean to do that. 3. We were ready to enter the next floor. In the last stage, everyone had successfully completed their quests, which made it difficult to determine who would be eliminated. But one of our companions chose to withdraw on their own. If you have to pick someone no matter what, then pick me. The person who lifted their hand was the Crusader. When I considered protesting against her choice, the Crusader shook her head. It's fine. One of us has to head down to the first floor to set up Black Knight anyway. And I don't feel comfortable leaving the civil militia for so long. Also, I'll say this now. I don't want the mermaids to become the hegemon of the continent. It's enough for me as long as they can live peacefully. This was just like her, who would donate most of her income to an orphanage. Humph. The Black Dragon Master seemed to think differently. Is that really the reason? I don't know what you're talking about. Is it just that? I think you're just starting to feel lonely. The Black Dragon Master smiled like a Cheshire cat. In any case, I'll leave the establishment of Black Knight to you. If any of my guild members try to bother you, just tell them the cafe run by the witch in the semi-basement, one, located in the alley after the three-way intersection. When they ask what the menu is, say, pumpkin latte with no ice. Is that the Black Dragon's secret code? MHM, for this month. It shouldn't have been updated yet. Your tastes are still as unique as ever. The Crusader shot a bitter smile at me. Sorry for leaving the attack team first, Death King. To make up for it, I will lay the foundation of the guild well. On the day you return after clearing the 40th floor, everything will be ready for you.
If
you're really sorry, then could you do me a favor? Of course. Tell me. When this attack is over, please teach me music. The Crusader's eyebrows rose and she let out a soft, So that's what it was. Do you want to play it for Princess Ivantia?
Yeah.
When I confessed to Raviel, I promised that I'd learn to play music. Great. Jazz is love. The Crusader smiled as if that made her feel much better. Since you're such a romantic lover, you'll definitely need to learn to play music. I'm not very good at teaching others, but I'll do my best. Then I'll be in your care, teacher. We shook hands. I'll leave it to you, Gongja. With a smile, the Crusader disappeared in a flash of light. The Crusader has been eliminated from this stage. The lady who walks through the mirage settles the points. You have received 1510 race points. You currently have 7,112 race points. The Crusader's points were distributed to the rest of the group. Since the races were basically our children, these points could be called child support. So it would be better for me to use these points not just to help the goblins, but all the races. However, the safety of the race isn't that urgent right now. I clenched my fist. There was a child who had waited hundreds of years to meet me. Wait for me, Aberka. White light engulfed my vision as we moved to the 35th floor. Daddy is coming. Right after entering the area of the 35th floor, I begged the Black Dragon Master to help me. Hurry. We have to go to the highest mountain on this continent. You're not treating me like a taxi, are you? I will always respect you from the bottom of my heart. You didn't even deny it. With a sigh, the Black Dragon Master agreed to my request. It was much faster to use the Black Dragon Master's instant transfer than to wander around as a mental body. Is that it? After crossing the sky for a long time while using the clouds as stepping stones, we finally arrived above a mountain range. The high mountains. The deeper we went in the mountain range, the white the peaks became. I think this is higher than the Himalayas. The Black Dragon Master looked at the mountain range with a solemn expression. Just looking at it makes me shiver. Hey, are you sure your apostle is here? That doesn't make sense. The lady showed it to me in an illusion. This was definitely the place. I looked around. He must be nearby. Suddenly, I had an ominous feeling. There was a 150-year gap between this stage and the previous stage. Maybe a burqa hadn't managed to survive those 150 years. My heart began to ache. If that was true, then it would mean that I had missed my last chance to reunite with a burqa. Clench. When I thought about a burqa, who had endured this solitude for more than 200 years, I subconsciously clenched my teeth. It's all right. I instinctively lifted my hand to my shirt. In my chest pocket was a handkerchief that carried the scent of a blue rose. 0. Even if you're gone, I'll bring you back. We landed on the highest peak. As I searched the peak carefully, I contemplated how I would get Raviel's permission to return. I stretched my aura as far as I could, but I couldn't sense any signs of life. Death King. However, something caught my eye. There. In the direction the Black Dragon Master was pointing, a mummy sat cross-legged on the ground. My breathing stopped. The mummy was completely dry and it looked like nothing but a shell. Like the corpse of a cicada that died and fell on the ground. I couldn't feel any signs of life from the mummy. I was late. My chest tightened. I was too late. The mummy's face was severely wrinkled, but I could still feel a burqa's traces. His expression was calm. The heavy winds blew his hair. I couldn't even shed a tear when I looked at the face that seemed to have cast aside all the troubles of the world. Sorry. Just as I stretched out a hand to touch the mummy. Daddy? A familiar sound entered my ears. I stopped stretched and turned my head. Ugher. It was a voice that seemed to have experienced all the vicissitudes of life. The voice, which seemed like it would burst into laughter at any moment, flowed across the snowy mountain and entered my ears. It's really you, Daddy. A burqa stood tall in the pure white snow. The rugged mountain range continued to stretch over this child's shoulder. Since this was the highest point in this world, there was no one else who could share this atmosphere with us. You dash. I opened my mouth. A burqa. You're finally here. It's been roughly 365 years and 7 months, Daddy. You even brought someone I've never seen before with you. Oh my God. I looked back and forth between a burqa and the mummy as if I'd seen a ghost. What happened? When I saw this mummy, I thought you died. Ah. You mean this? A burqa walked towards the mummy with an indifferent expression. It's a corpse, but also not a corpse. After all, in order for caterpillars to become butterflies, they have to first endure the prison-like cocoon. This is my cocoon. A burqa stretched out his hand and tapped the mummy with a finger. Then, the mummy seemed to lose its support and collapsed. My mouth fell open when I saw it collapse like a bag of skin onto the snow. Skin. After immersing myself in meditation for 60 days, I reached enlightenment. Ugher. At that time, a dreamlike landscape appeared in front of me, and as soon as I stepped into it, I began living the dream. A burqa was talking about something I'd never heard about before. In that dream, I was born into a prestigious warrior family. However, I was born with a constitution that made it impossible for me to practice martial arts. Even though I was the eldest son, I was scorned and ignored for not being able to use aura. Ugher. In the end, I was able to win the position of family head through politics and schemes. That's a very detailed dream. I think that was probably my previous life. Because of my weak body, I fell ill at the age of 26 and died. When I woke up from the dream, my original body cracked like a shell. A burqa smiled brightly, revealing his fangs. Originally, I planned to keep it as a souvenir, but it doesn't matter now that Daddy has returned. I want the joy of our meeting to be the only evidence of my weight. Seeing you again has already filled me with joy. A burqa. The tip of my nose stung. This child had grown up so beautifully. Death King. The Black Dragon Master tapped my shoulder. As heartwarming as your little show is, haven't you noticed something strange? Huh? We aren't using any items right now. The Black Dragon Master's gaze was solemn as she looked at Aberka. We're not using animal possession or person possession. We're still in our mental forms, so the natives of this world shouldn't be able to see us. So how can this kid see us so easily? It was only then that I realized this. How can he do it? No one should be able to see us in our mental forms. This was something that we'd proven countless times in the 31st to 34th floors. However, Aberka talked to me as if it was natural, and had even noticed the Black Dragon Master as well. More importantly, I definitely searched the surroundings with my aura and didn't find any signs of life. It was bizarre. I looked into Aberka's eyes. Aberka, how can you do it? Ugher. Aberka stretched his neck a few times. The sounds of his bones popping resounded. After reaching enlightenment and breaking free from my present life, I began to see things I'd never seen before. I saw the ultimate truth about the world. And by recognizing the truth of the world, I became a being that was comparable to the world. I wasn't sure what this child was talking about. My brain has a habit of going blank whenever I hear something I don't understand. I didn't understand anything that Aberka was saying. Hey! What are you talking about? To put it simply, this is what I mean, Daddy. Aberka then snapped his fingers. The constellation, the musclehead who dreams of sinning against heaven, is looking at you. Note, in chapter 175, Gongja told Aberka that attacking him was a sin against heaven. What? The constellation, the musclehead who dreams of sinning against heaven, is delighted to be reunited with you. Oh my God. I stared blankly at Aberka. I felt like someone had hit me in the back of the head with a shovel. Why you? There are many mysterious principles in the universe. The smile on Aberka's lips continued to grow larger as he looked at me. Seeing Daddy's lost expression, I can't help but feel that all my hard work has paid off. How is it? As far as I know, there is no other being in this world that has or will reach a higher level than me. I have become the strongest warrior of all time, both in name and in reality. No. I couldn't believe that a hobgoblin had ascended to become a constellation. I knew he was a genius, but I didn't think it would be this exaggerated. By the way, Daddy. My son, who had become a constellation, let out a hearty laugh. We can have our conversation later. Today is the day Daddy and I finally got to meet again. Don't you think we should resolve the regrets of the past 350 years first? Right.
Yeah.
You're right. Although it hadn't been that long from my perspective, for Aberka, it was an incredibly long time. The joy that parents and children felt when meeting each other after a long time was much better expressed through gestures, not through talking. I opened my arms wide. Come, Aberka. Although I'm much smaller than you, Daddy will gladly give you a hug. Ugher. Then I won't hold back. The constellation, the musclehead who dreams of sinning against heaven, is requesting to duel you. Huh? Get ready, Daddy. Aberka clenched both of his fists. I have been looking forward to this day for a long time. And charged towards me. The mountain range shook with every one of Aberka's steps. The snow atop the highest peak collapsed and poured down, and the heavy winds reversed and soared into the sky. Wait a minute, son. Wait a minute. 350 years ago, I suffered an unexpected defeat, but today will be different. Aberka sent forth a punch. The constellation, the musclehead who dreams of sinning against heaven, lets out a roar. At that moment, the sky began to shake. Chapter 196. Room and Board, 1. Out of all the constellations I'd fought so far, the strongest was without a doubt the Devil King of Fall Rain. A demon saint who built a mountain of corpses with a single sword. The tip of his sword dyed the continent red with blood, creating a river of blood that flowed from the mountain, carrying the heavy scent of blood. Ku-ha-ha-ha. But that internal ranking was bound to change today. As expected of Daddy. You're as slippery as a loach. A fist brushed past the tip of my nose. Boom! And I heard a loud roar as the air shook from its violent momentum. Oh my God. Just the wind pressure alone was almost enough to send me flying. Son. What is it? Daddy. Do we really need to do this? I cried desperately. It's been so long since we last saw each other, so we should sit down and have a fun, relaxing conversation. I'm having a lot of fun right now. Are you trying to kill your daddy? If Daddy dies, then it means your skills only amounted to this. In that case, you shouldn't blame me, you should blame your own weakness. An explosion came behind me. When I looked back, I saw the peak of a mountain collapse after being struck by a Burka's aura. Crazy. While I wouldn't dare compare it to Master's state where she could cut the very world with her mind, his destructive power was terrifying. What would happen to me if I got hit by that fist? After deep consideration, in which I compared the hardness of my skull to the mountain peak, my calculations came up short. Spare your daddy! I screamed. Neighbors! There is an ungrateful child here who's trying to break his daddy's head. His daddy was the one who taught him how to use aura and even passed on his infernal heaven's demonic art, but now this child is ignoring his daddy's grace and trying to kill him. That's me. I will show filial piety with my fists. After letting out a shout, a Burka took a stance. It was a stance that was very familiar to me. Infernal heaven's demonic art. First form. Sword of starvation. Aura rushed in from all directions to devour my body. My eyes went wide. His skill at manipulating aura was completely incomparable to the past. Ho! Beihurayong let out a soft sound. At almost the exact same time, my sense of perception slowed considerably. Beihurayong's voice became a soft ho in my ear, and I counterattacked before the snow and wind could snatch the end of his exclamation. I'll lose if I keep running. I roused the aura in my body. If I let down my guard for even a second, I would lose without any chance to fight back. Could that work? As time passed slowly, a plan formed in my mind. I can try. My action was much faster than my contemplation. I stepped forward. Bang! The snow beneath my foot scattered. My aura then seeped into the broken snowflakes. Infernal heaven's demonic art. First form. Sword of starvation. I did not respond to a Burka's attack. Instead, I dominated it. In the end, the way the infernal heaven's demonic art burned was dependent on the caster's memory and image. Even if it was broken into dozens of different branches of attacks, it could still be destroyed if one understood which branches in the caster's image were hard and which were soft. The direction changes depending on how much you understand the technique. I quietly observed my opponent's attack. In my eyes, the gestures of the aura flames were vivid. A Burka had chosen 2 branches of attack. Let's compete. The first breath. The first thing I extinguished were the flames that were rushing wildly. The pain of hunger. It was an attack that contained the screams of a child. Its standard procedure. I swiftly controlled the technique. I recalled the gestures of a mother listening to the screams of a child in front of her. The pain and suffering clashed. My aura wrapped around Aburka's and twisted it like it was strangling it with both hands. The direction of attack had reversed. The second breath. Aburka's gaze became fierce. He immediately realized my intention to fight with our understanding of martial arts instead of just strength. Daddy still likes to do distasteful things. Aburka mixed aura into his voice. If an ordinary person heard it, Aburka's words would have sounded like a single syllable without meaning. But had been compressed severely by aura. Only in our infinitely slow, extended time could be spread out. It was a technique that required a fairly high level of skill. You're treating me like a strong but stupid wild boar. Note, musclehead is basically muscled pig in Korean. Right. Only those with a sufficiently high skill level could listen to our conversation. If you don't want to lose, you should untangle your infernal heaven's demonic art first. I hate this. I'm going to beat Daddy with the technique. Then, I'm going to flatten Daddy's nose and roll you around till you feel like you're in hell. Then I'll finally make you acknowledge me from the bottom of your heart. Instead of learning how to use your aura well in those 300 years, you instead learned how to talk nonsense. You should just stay quiet and lose to me. Yugo. Yugo was a goblin word that had many meanings, like no, never, that's distasteful, get lost, you son of a bitch, and many others. I waited for more than 350 years, I won't lose again. Whether it's 300 years, 3,000 years or 30,000 years. The third breath. I began to take control of Aburka's infernal heaven's demonic art. It was like I was coloring a sketch that Aburka had drawn, or, to be more precise, like I was adding my own improvisations to Aburka's music. This daddy has no intention of handing over the position of leader. Since Aburka portrayed the image of a starving child, I portrayed the image of a parent feeding their child and letting themselves starve. Which one would express the more painful hunger? Which hunger was better suited to carry everyone's screams? The two swords of starvation combined to form one technique. Son. What is it? Now that the family has been formed, we can have our conversation. I brushed Aburka's authority aside with the back of my hand. I didn't push it forcibly. Instead, I was able to avoid the attack after predicting its path. Hitting it with the back of my hand was simply the last movement needed for me to dodge. Yugo. Aburka rushed towards me. It's a desolate job. Especially for the members of the demonic cult. For those who intend to learn from the pain of the world, it is necessary to enter the cult. The infernal heaven's demonic art is the determination to embrace that pain. We live among the people. Every time Aburka swung his fist, mountain peaks collapsed one after the other. But none of his attacks hit my body. Rumble. With the two of us at the center, avalanches occurred in the east, west, north and south. Like the petals of a blooming flower. A blood flower. The blizzard collapsed. Oh my God. About 20 steps away from us, the Black Dragon Master muttered blankly to herself. I wasn't sure if she was shocked by the tremendous power Aburka displayed, or if she was admiring the way I was dealing with him. Nevertheless, I didn't pay any attention to her and instead continued to talk to Aburka. It's necessary to be careful. Otherwise, our demonic cult would become an art exhibit for pain. For all to view as they please. An art exhibit for pain? I'm saying we shouldn't compete to see who feels more pain. Instead, we should watch over each other so that pain doesn't become a power for us. I know you're not that kind of child, but I'll still tell you this anyway. The fourth breath. I successfully dominated all of Aburka's attack branches. Although Aburka was still able to move his body, the path that his aura could take was extremely narrow. Cup. Aberka gritted his teeth. His red aura burned fiercely, trying to forcibly open a path, but I skillfully grabbed the end of the flame and dragged it where I wanted it to go. If you endure the pain alone, then the people around you will become dry and twisted. The more precious they are to you, the drier they become. I want to tell you to stop, but what if you objected and said that you can bear the pain of the world? If pain was what made one a person, then you would be the only person. I felt that Aberka was following my words. But I wasn't sure. Nevertheless, I continued to wield my flames. It might have been too early to give him this advice, but as the Black Dragon Master said, it was better to be too early than too late. Don't make your loved ones suffer just because you're doing it for the world. That would be putting the cart before the horse. Find companions. Persuade others with your will. Since you gained enlightenment after climbing the mountain, it is time to go down the mountain. Find someone to entrust your heart and mind to. Talk to them a lot. If you aim to become a person, become persons with them. A person. You're already there. The fifth breath. I spread my aura. Look, child. My eyes shined as I met Aberka's gaze. Like mirrors reflecting each other, our eyes reflected each other endlessly. Why do you think I said all of that to you? Aura exploded. It wasn't my power. This torrent of aura came from Aberka. I was just the one controlling the flow. It's because I want to share the same sky. And I painted an image I'd long dreamed of with the red paint. Aberka was the infinite paint, and I was the brush. The same aura control method, the same demonic arts, and the same image descended on the white mountaintop. Infernal heaven's demonic art. First law. Burning grave. The sixth breath. The surrounding landscape changed. Red aura swirled around, creating various shapes. Candles. Lit candles on candlesticks. There was even melted wax dripping from the candles. The gorgeous floor and stairs. Even the various decorations embroidered around the mansion. Everything appeared. Wait a minute, this place. The Black Dragon Master was shocked. This place felt familiar. Hundreds of candles burned, the shadows of aura hidden between each candle and candlestick. Cackle. It was a familiar sound. A sound that was reminiscent of dripping wax. Want to play hide and seek? Who? With us. Suddenly, the scene collapsed. In terms of time, it had probably only lasted for about 3 seconds. Even with Aberka's ridiculous amount of aura and my exquisite usage of aura, there was still a limit. It was difficult for us to maintain objects, sounds, and an independent space. But we had done it. Even if it was for almost an instant. I had successfully recreated the fiery mansion. Aberka looked around, mesmerized. The scenery had already returned to that of the mountaintop. But everyone there knew that what we had just witnessed was not a hallucination or delusion. Aberka. I recalled my aura into my body. This is the truth I told you about 363 years ago. It's not just about showing an image with aura. It's about using your aura to make the image descend. I'd passed the infernal heaven's demonic art down to Aberka. He then spread it to the other goblins and it developed into fire plays. This was all so that I wouldn't have to walk this path alone. No matter how hard I try, I would never be able to maintain it for more than a second. My aura would run out in an instant, and it would collapse before I could even take 10 steps. Even when you and I did it together, we were only able to maintain it for 3 seconds. But what if we added 12 warriors? What about 24, 200? No, what if 1,000 goblins did it together? Aberka imagined the scene I just mentioned. His eyes shined as if he was actually seeing it. Usually, such a thing would be impossible. But the goblins have been sharing their images for hundreds of years. Polishing them. We are the only ones in this world capable of doing that. We are musicians who share the same sheet music. That. Aberka opened his mouth. But it's a song about pain. It would be beautiful. Ugher. It would be beautiful. I was getting excited. So go down the mountain with Daddy. I smiled brightly. Even if we sing about pain, our lives will still be joyful. That's weird. How could that be possible? Because Daddy is a good guy. You're a good guy too. Daddy acknowledges you and you acknowledge Daddy. The person who always does their best and works the hardest acknowledges and likes me, so how could I not be joyful? I stretched my right hand towards Aberka. I'll be happier because of you, and you can smile a little more because of me. Let's go down. My sinner. Aberka grabbed my right hand. You have created a new skill. Suddenly, the tower's voice rang out in my head. Creating skill card. Chapter 197. Room and board, 2. A rectangular card appeared above my left hand. It was a skill card that I was now used to. But what I wasn't used to was the color of the card. Violet? Purple? The color of a skill card was determined by the level of the skill. Ranks F to C had the same color. They were often joked about as being poop-colored. Most hunters had poop-colored skills. But they were also hunters who cried because they didn't even have that much. Ranks B and A were silver. These skills were commonly called jackpots. For rank S and higher, the color was gold. It was usually hard to even find hunters who had gold skills, so it highlighted just how amazing my companions were. But I'd never heard of a purple card. This couldn't be an error, right? I looked at the words engraved on the card. Plus. Infernal Heavens Formation. Rank, undetermined. Effect, this is a formation made based on the Infernal Heavens demonic art. This formation embodies an image shared by the casters. The more casters that participate in the formation, and the more proficient the casters are in the Infernal Heavens demonic art, the clearer the image shared, and the stronger the power of the formation. This formation has not been proven to be effective. You are the one that created this skill. It is up to you to showcase the potential of the Infernal Heavens formation. When enough data has been collected, the rank and description of the skill will be revised. Currently, the skill level is undetermined. Plus.
Ah.
I finally understood why the card was purple. It was like a trial period. The skill hadn't been tested yet, so the card color was purple. So there was something like this. Awesome. I was startled. Beihurayung had pushed his head right beside my face and shouted loudly right beside my ear. What the hell? What's with you all of a sudden? I've never seen a purple skill card before. Beihurayung's eyes shone brightly. Hey, so I was able to see something like this too. It's a good thing I became a ghost instead of choosing to die quietly. It's just a different color, why are you making such a big fuss? Zombie. Is there something wrong with your brain? Don't you think this is weird? If it were you, would you make the trial card for skills that haven't been tested yet purple? Usually, it would be white. Huh. Now that I heard that, it did seem a bit strange. That's true. Purple wouldn't be set as the default color. Usually. Exactly. Maybe the tower owner likes purple. Just as I was thinking about the tower owner, who was shrouded in mystery. Daddy.
Ah.
Sorry. I got distracted for a while. It's fine. Aberka shook his head. My right hand was still being held by his. Instead, I feel that there's a need to explain the current era to Daddy. After all, there must be a reason why Daddy appeared now of all times. Something big is happening on the continent. Something big? That's right. Or perhaps I should say that something big is happening in the entire world, not just the continent. Aberka smiled as he said those mysterious words. There are rumors that a new continent has been discovered. It was at that moment that the quest appeared. You have received the quest for the 35th floor. The name of the quest appeared in a window in front of me. Age of Discovery. A new continent. This new world was first discovered 24 years ago. I've stayed on these snowy mountains for 350 years, but occasionally, I would go down to the city to find out about the affairs of the world. An ocean race captain was the first one to find land that wasn't on any map. The ocean race took the form of mermaids. They mainly lived in rivers, but there were other subspecies. That mermaid wondered what the end of the sea looked like. At the same time, they had the ability to make their curiosity a reality, and the courage to stake their lives on their abilities. Please support me. The mermaid captain spoke before the admirals. The goblins dominate the land because it is inscribed into the very bones of their race. The elves are in charge of many things, so they deserve to control the gold coins. But the water is the only domain for mermaids, so there should not be a single place that we don't know the depth and current of. It was a speech without logic, but the admirals swept their tails in agreement. We will provide you with a ship and 40 sailors, including a vampire. Note, how do mermaids use ships? Submarine? No. Thus, the legendary voyage began. I wasn't sure how to say it. But perhaps their thinking was freer because they lived in water. It felt like the mermaids were behind all of the unusual developments in the world, including the discovery of sea salt. What happened to the captain? His dream came through. After 16 months of sailing, he discovered a new continent. Aberka's tone became softer. But on their way back home, he was eaten by a killer whale at sea. No. That was so pitiful. It happens surprisingly often. You go. The number one cause of death for mermaids is crocodiles, second is killer whales, and third is drowning. Mermaids can drown? I don't know the exact details either. The shroud of mystery thickened. While we were having our father-son conversation. You guys. Transfer. We heard a sigh from nearby. It was the Black Dragon Master. She turned her head and looked at us. While treating another person as a means of transportation. Transfer. Can you not just casually talk to each other? Transfer. Don't you think I'll get annoyed just listening from the side? Transfer. The reason the Black Dragon Master was saying transfer in the middle of her sentences was we were currently riding the instant transfer bus. I was being held in Aberka's large arms, and the Black Dragon Master was beside me. Thanks to this, we were able to stably repeat instant transfer. From a distance, we probably looked like a kangaroo and her joeys. Hey. You're giving us a comfortable ride. You might be comfortable, but I'm not. Transfer. Do you know how annoying it is to use a skill nonstop? Transfer. It's fine since we're like family now. Right. Since we're closer now, can I call you Nuna asterisk? Since I've entered the tower, I haven't been close enough with anyone to call them Nuna. Asterisk, should I use Nuna or Big Sis? You're the type to endlessly take advantage of those close to you. Transfer. Beneath our feet, the sea spread out endlessly. That's right. The sea. No matter where we looked, not to mention land, we couldn't even see a rocky reef. In our sights, blue stretched endlessly towards the horizon. We were literally cutting across the ocean towards the new continent. Note, for those confused like I was, seas are part of an ocean usually partially contained by land. Don't call me Nuna. I hate it. Then should I call you Your Majesty? The Black Dragon Queen? Our Death King is so funny. The Black Dragon Master smiled brightly. For a moment, I felt like she would smack me across the ears. I won't joke around anymore. Smart choice. Transfer. If you really want to change the way you address me, then call me Senior. Transfer. I'll let you do that much.
Ah.
Fine. Senior. It's fine for you to call me Gongja too. The Black Dragon Master didn't respond. She just turned her head and looked forward. With an expressionless face, the Black Dragon Master quietly said, "Transfer." Silence naturally fell. As I listened to the sound of the crashing waves, I checked the quest window one more time. Plus. Age of Discovery. Difficulty, A. Mission goal, exploration. Adventure. A new continent has appeared for the 7 races. The new route pioneered by the mermaid race has attracted the other races as well. I want to live somewhere else. In every era, there are those in the world with this dream. A desire that seemed impossible to fulfill, a miracle that had never appeared, and an excitement that could never be felt. Explorers board ships with the hopes that they'd find what they hadn't obtained on the other side of the ocean. But the new continent is only a new world for the 7 races. Others have already created their homes on that land and are living there. Currently, the feud between the natives and the explorers is on the brink of exploding. Perhaps, a one-sided massacre is about to take place. Invasion. Coexistence. Or maybe expulsion. The 7 races are in danger of extermination. It is up to you to guide them. However, failure to deliver could result in the destruction of one or more races. Plus. Massacre. Extermination. Those ugly words poked at my eyes. That was why we were hurrying to the new continent. Are those kids really slaughtering the natives? I don't know. Transfer. The Black Dragon Master spoke. However, it is possible. Even in the outside world, massacres took place whenever new routes were pioneered. Transfer. The people of this world might not be like that, but. Transfer. Our children won't always grow up in the way we want. No matter what, we have to prevent a massacre. I'm rooting for you. Ugger. Aburka slowly opened his mouth. There's something there. Aburka pointed to the horizon. I couldn't see anything at first. But since I trusted my child, I used aura to strengthen my eyesight. Something was floating in the open ocean. A ship? It was a huge ship. I furrowed my eyebrows. Black Dragon Master. No, Senior. There's a ship over there, let's go check it out. Why? Because I can see the ship, but I don't see the crew. Transfer. It seemed the Black Dragon Master had also spotted the ship. She quickly brought us to the deck. When we set foot on the boat, we all noticed something strange. The people here. The Black Dragon Master looked around. Are all asleep? The sailors were collapsed on the deck. The sailors were made up of several races. Most of them were Oni or mermaids, but there were also a few humans mixed in. Nevertheless, all the sailors, regardless of race, were asleep. I walked over to the helmsman, who was asleep beneath the ship's wheel, and held his wrist. It's malnutrition. I used my aura to inspect the condition of the sailor's entire body. He is showing signs of severe dehydration. It should be about 4 or 5 days since he last had any water. He doesn't seem to be injured, and his head is fine. I'd become very familiar with dehydration when learning the Sword of Thirst of the Infernal Heaven's demonic art. Just to be safe, I also checked a few more sailors, but the results were the same. Malnutrition. Severe dehydration. And this. No matter how I look at it, they're simply asleep. The sailors breathed in a smooth, comfortable manner. They hadn't gotten drunk or fainted, they were just sleeping. Did you try to wake them up with aura?
Yeah.
But even when I deliberately stimulated them, they didn't wake up. It's really weird. Wait a second. The Black Dragon Master walked up to a sailor and touched their body. Then, black aura fluttered from her fingertips. After a while, the Black Dragon Master narrowed her eyes. They weren't cursed. Maybe it's a drug? Don't they usually eat and drink as a group? That could be it. However, the symptoms are too light for it to be a drug. I can't feel any traces of it. It's possible that there are drugs in this world that I am unaware of, but... The Black Dragon Master looked worried. Meanwhile, Aberka had gathered all the sailors on the deck. Strangely, the captain was a snail. The snails said that whenever they came into contact with salt, their skin became dry or in severe cases melted, and yet, one had come out to sea. His courage was commendable. He deserves an award. As he put the captain down, Aberka wrinkled his nose. These people seem to have been working right before they fell asleep. It feels like everyone suddenly fell into a deep sleep regardless of what they were doing. Do you mean all at once? Ugh. A total of 32 sailors had fallen asleep at the same time. As expected, the mystery only deepened. Do you think we should go into their dreams for a moment? After a while, the Black Dragon Master made a suggestion. Their dream? It would be better to use person possession, but that costs 1,000 points. We can't waste our points like that, so we should use dream appearance instead. It was a remark that revealed a hint of her personality. Senior was probably the type to save every penny even when deciding on the guild budget. After contemplating between going to a dessert cafe or buying dessert in a convenience store, she'd probably end up buying the dessert in a convenience store. Raviel is the type to rent out the entire dessert cafe if she wants to eat something she likes. In fact, she would probably have a private booth permanently available. Badass. I nodded after thinking about our Duke's habits. Sure. That would be the fastest way.
Yeah.
Then I'll go first. You worked hard to climb the mountain and traverse the seas. You took me across land, sea and air without complaint. I will do this. Sometimes, you act so admirably that I'm uncertain whether I want to hit you or not. You're my senior, so I have to take care of you. I opened the civilization store. Purchased dream appearance. 100 points have been deducted. You currently have 7,012 race points. Then I used the item on the snail captain in front of me. Patat. My vision blurred. A whirlpool of light swirled around in front of my eyes. 1 breath, 2 breaths, even though I was using my breaths to count, my sense of time was paralyzed. At some point, my eyes had also become closed. After a while. Gongja. Someone whispered in my ear. Open your eyes. Gongja. I opened my eyes. In front of me, an unidentified woman who looked like Raviel had her face very close to mine. I quickly scanned Raviol's white neck and long fingers. No necklace. No wedding ring. I didn't have anywhere else to spend my money anyway. I couldn't see the wedding ring I'd bought after pouring half of my fortune before going to the 30th floor. Hoo-hoo. Just in case, I looked around more carefully. We were in one of the bedrooms of the Ivantia mansion. I was lying on a soft bed. The woman who looked like Raviol was looking down on me from above. I saw a flower pot beside the bed, and I saw a chair, but I couldn't see any golden skill cards anywhere. Okay. Analysis complete. What are you looking for? The woman above me stroked my cheek. Her eyes that resembled Raviol's shined brightly. For a moment, I contemplated accepting this **T situation, but fortunately, that contemplation only lasted 0.1 seconds. Tomorrow is a holiday. My love. Let's have a great time for the first time in a while. Hey, you son of a bitch. What do you think you're doing with Raviol's face? Do you want to die? The woman's caress stopped. I'll give you 10 seconds. If you don't get off of me and get on your knees right away, then I don't care if you are the god of another world, an apostle, or whatever, I will make you regret your existence. I'll be considerate enough to not count the time out. As long as you know to kneel down within 10 seconds. The woman's face hardened. How? Her facial expression was incomprehensible. Are you not asleep? No. That's not possible. You are completely immersed in my dream. So how on earth? 10 seconds are up. What? I chuckled. Let's get this over with.